Hello everyone, Gaara here and welcome to a brand new deck tech video. Today I'll be talking about a much cheaper version of my original Ramp Druid deck. Right now I'm climbing to Legendary on NA and I'm rank 2 right now, and I've been streaming this deck and many people asked you to make a deck tech video about this deck, and I'm doing one right now. Um, Usually it's very difficult to play a control based deck without legendary cards, but it is working for me, and many people are asking me what am I playing instead of Sylvanas and or scenarios if you don't have those cards. And I'm not using any legendaries, and yeah, I've lost very few games so far, and let's just jump right into the deck list and talk about the deck. Alright, I played Double Innovate. It's pretty standard. It's a basic card. You get it just with playing a few games with your druid, and it's one of the most important cards, and it's one of the strongest cards in the game right now. You play your big threats early on in the game and make it really difficult for your opponent for them to be removed. And yeah, I play one Mark of the Wild instead of two. Mark of the Wild is a situational card. It's only good if you have minions on the board. And so I'm testing to play just one. Like sometimes you have those crappy hands where you have just a lot of removal cards, a lot of spells. You have like Revs, Wipes, Starfall, and Innovation and stuff, Healing Touch. Sometimes you really have a bad hand, so you don't want to draw into a second Mark of the Wild. So I'm testing to play one. It's working for me quite well right now. So I don't know if I will change it. The main reason is I tend to play one Yeti in my main deck, and it doesn't have taunt obviously. And here I play double Senjins, and it has already taunt, so it doesn't have that great of a synergy with Mark of the Wild. You mainly play Mark of the Wild because of the taunt effect. And yeah, so I'm testing just one Mark of the Wild right now. But even like two Mark of the Wild would be bad. It's just something I prefer right now. Wild Growth, pretty standard. It's also a basic card. You get it for free with playing a few games. It's really strong in a ramp druid deck, and that's the whole point behind the ramp, is to get extra mana crystals early in the game, and you basically mulligan for this card whenever you can. Just this is like the main card of the entire ramp druid deck. Double Rev as a removal against zoo decks and aggro decks. You will face many aggro decks in the lower rankings. Later, when you climb, when you're higher ranked, you will face much less aggro decks than. So when you already legendary, you might even consider just playing one Rev because you will face way more control heavy decks than early on in the climbing phase. So it's really important when you climb to legendary to play two revs. I play one healing touch. It's really important against the aggro decks because early on you will not play many minions or any cards, and when you get your taunts out, you don't want to be too low on life. Sometimes you are like on 3 life or 4 life and you have the board control, but you will still die to a random swipe or a random nuke. So if you have the healing touch, it really secures your many games against aggro decks. So in my opinion, and as well, I talked about it in my ramp tag, like it has the great synergy with the Ancient of War as well. I play one big game hunter, not just because I have only one big game hunter. Two big game hunters is just too much. Even though with the huge popularity of hand locks, you will not face that many when you're climbing to legendary. So one big game hunter is fine, but one is also necessary because druid can't deal with big creatures. Even you play, let's say against a miracle rogue, and he plays a really big one cleave. There's literally nothing you can do except silencing it, for example. Against Ragnaros, all those cards, Alex Strasser, which are quite popular, you really need a big game hunter. I play one Harvest Column. That's pretty interesting because it has nothing to do with the ramping up and building big minions. Because this deck is really weak in the early phase of the game, so it just makes the curve smoother, and you have something earlier in the game, and it has synergy with the Mark of the Wild. I tested it. It's working quite well for me. I don't want to play too many locust minions because I want to focus on the ramp cards like big threats. But it's really nice sometimes that you have more options. You can more cards you can keep in your hand, in your starting hand when you mulligan. So just increases the chance of not having a crappy starting hand. Like this is something I experienced in the past, that I very often have a completely unplayable hand till turn 4 or turn 5. So I'm trying to make it a little bit stronger in the early game. So I play one Harvest Golem. It's like a good card against aggro decks. Against a lot of decks it's a good card. It's really difficult to be removed, and it kills against a shaman. Shaman is also a really strong counter to ramp deck, and it kills all the totems, and it's really hard to be removed. And yeah, that's why I play one Harvest Golem. It's working out quite well for me so far. I'm playing double swipe. It's a really solid removal card. Nothing else to be said there. Keep of the Grove, one of the best druid cards. I would play two keepers in every druid deck. It has the silence, it has the damage, it has good stats. Not the best stats in the world, but it's a really good card overall. Um, Double Sanguine, that's interesting. There's quite some people who play Double Sanguine in every ramp druid deck, and I can agree with that. It makes your ramp curve way smoother. You have the double Sentience into double Claw, into double Sunwalker, into Ancient of War. It's just the curve is way better, and it starts earlier, which is important because usually you have such a bad early game. So yeah, I'm playing double Sentient myself. Not, also because I don't have the big legendary cards, and it's working quite well. Ascension is pretty easy to get. It's one of the basic minion cards, and it has good stats and one of the best taunters. I play one Nourish still. I'm not. I will never play two Nourish because it's you never ever want to have two Nourish in your hand. It's a but you on the same on the other hand, you really want to have one Nourish. It's really good when you're out of cards, one of the best card draw cards, and sometimes you can use it to gain mana crystals. Yeah, I explained this in my Ram tech. I'm playing one Starfall. Two Spipes is just not enough against all the aggro decks. So I play one Starfall. It's really important. It's also a card that kills off Yetis and 5 toughness creatures, and Druid doesn't have anything to kill this. Except you get the spell power, for example, in combination with Swipe. So one Starfall is actually really good. You can also kill Giants when you don't have a BGH, for example. You can combine Starfall with Breath, which is kind of a big deal. I play one Assure Drag. It's a really solid card overall. It's a really nice 5-drop. It gives you card draw, and it fits well in the curve. I play double druid with the Claw, like in my main ramp deck. It's a basic. It's not a basic card, but it's a common card. It's quite easy to craft. It's pretty cheap to get, and it is a really strong 5-drop. Double Faceless. I still play double Faceless. I think it's really important. When you don't have the really strong late game cards yourself, like Ragnaros or Cairn or something, you can just copy it if your opponent plays it. So this is something I can really recommend to everyone who's struggling and doesn't have the all the legendary cards available. Faceless is a really good substitution for those cards, because you can just copy the opponent card, and it's usually much cheaper as well. In general, I usually prefer a second Faceless Manipulator over the big card itself. It's much more reactive, but it's much cheaper, and you can use it in so many different situations. You can get Ysera's, Ragnaros, and you can kill the opponent Ragnaros, for example, for just 5 mana. And it has synergy with the BGH as well. It's really good card. I play one Argent Commander, which is really interesting. It just so much stronger. Like so, Agent Commander has a direct impact on the board when it's played. Uh, I like it in many situations because as I mentioned earlier, I'm really weak in the early game because I have no minions, no two drops, just one Harvest Golem as a free drop. So I can react to the board to regain board control. So I'm testing one Argent Commander. It's working quite well for me. It's also really good, for example, against the Shaman when he plays Fire Elemental. I can just use my Argent Commander and use it with the hero ability to kill it, or the Wrath, something like that. It's something that has instant impact, and I can also kill giants, for example, with this card and the swipe or something. I'm testing one Argent Commander. Well, it doesn't have crazy stats, but I have like my other cards that provide that, so it's really nice to have right now. I'm playing Boulder Fist Ogre. That's really interesting. It's a basic card. It has really, really good stats. And that's the only reason why I play these cards. It's a 6 drop. It's not that expensive. You will play him sometimes quite early. When you can play him with the Innovate, that's really huge. I'm playing this card instead of Cairn, but it works really well, even though it's not a legendary. I'm playing one Sunwalker. It's just a good card overall. It's a Taunter. It has Divine Shield. It's just really really good. I explained that in my ramp deck tag. Double Lore, one of the best cards in the Druid deck. Just a crazy good effect. And double Ancient of War. Nothing more to explain there. So that's my deck I'm using. Let's just jump right into some games.